The island of Sodor is surrounded by beautiful blue sea. It has fields with green and sandy yellow beaches. There are rivers, streams and lots of trees where the birds sing. There are windmills and a coal mine, and docks of visitors for the island arrive. The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the track? It's Thomas. Hello, Thomas. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the island of Sodor. The bug-eyed engine. Halloween is the most exciting time of the year for all the engines. They love to hear ghost stories, see all the children dress up, and even the Fat Controller's firework display. It was the day of the Halloween party. The Fat Controller gathered his engines at Knapford Station. Thomas, James and Percy, he said, you are to collect some scrap iron and steel from the smelters and bring them to the party tonight. Yes, sir, said Thomas and James, but Percy didn't like going to the smelters. It was a very scary place, and he thought of terrible things happening there. You'd better not be late back for the party, teased James, otherwise the bug-eyed engine might find you. Who's the bug-eyed engine? Asked Percy. Well, replied James, he was once an engine who travelled down your branch line, but one day this engine had a terrible accident out there, and then he was never seen again. I hope he never finds me, said James. Don't worry, Percy, said Thomas. James is just teasing. After all, there's no such things as ghosts. The three engines were soon on their way to the smelters. Suddenly, Percy heard a noise. What was that? He asked. Sounds like the bug-eyed engine's spying on you, teased James. It's waiting to follow you from its hiding place. I hope it doesn't, said Percy. James, said Thomas, stop teasing Percy and let's go. Thomas, James and Percy reached the smelters. Percy was very worried. I don't like it here, he said. It's so scary. Careful the bug-eyed engine doesn't find you, teased James. I don't think it's followed us yet, said Percy. Well, what's that over there? Asked James. I think it's a piece of twisted scrap, said Percy. Well, I think it's the shadow of the bug-eyed engine, said James. Come on, James, said Thomas. We need to shunt these trucks, never mind frightening Percy. James was cross, but then he had an idea. A very naughty idea. Percy was just sunching his last trucks when suddenly he heard a frightening whistle. What's that? He cried. Then he heard a scary voice. I'm the bug-eyed engine, it said, and I'm coming to take you down. The bug-eyed engine's found me, cried Percy. He was so scared he puffed away as fast as he could. He didn't know it was James making those noises. Percy ran as fast as he could to find a place to hide. He could hide in his branch line, but the bug-eyed engine might find him if he hid there, so he tried to hide somewhere else. Meanwhile, Thomas had finished taking his trucks. Where's Percy? He asked James. He hasn't collected his trucks of iron and steel. I don't know, replied James. I think he was so scared of the smelters that he ran away. Have you been teasing him? Asked Thomas. No, replied James. Are you sure? Asked Thomas. Yes, said James. We must find Percy, otherwise he's going to get into trouble. Thomas and James searched up and down every track, but they couldn't see Percy anywhere. I looked on his branch line, said James, but I can't find him anywhere. We could try the old mine track, said Thomas, but that line is dark and spooky. said James. Come on, James, said Thomas. If Percy's anywhere, he's got to be there. Percy was on the siding. His fire had gone out and everywhere looked very spooky. Then he heard an engine coming. "It's the bug-eyed engine!" cried Percy, shutting his eyes. "And he's found me!" "Percy!" said a voice. Percy opened his eyes. It was Thomas and James. "What are you doing here?" asked Thomas. "The iron and steel haven't been collected from the smelters." "I ran away," replied Percy. "I've been hearing the scary voice and moaning and groaning." "James," said Thomas, "you have been teasing Percy, haven't you?" James felt bad. "Yes," he said. "I've been telling you many times to stop teasing Percy," said Thomas. "Percy's trucks haven't been collected and now we're late for the Halloween party." "You're right, Thomas," said James. "I'm sorry I teased you, Percy." "That's all right," said Percy. Soon the 3 engines collected the trucks and then they were on their way. They arrived at the party on time. The children were dressed up and everyone was ready for the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful dazzling of sparkling colours were flying in the sky. Thomas, James and Percy smiled at each other. "Everything's turned out fine," said Percy. "You're right, Percy," said James. "It's been the greatest fire display yet." "Hey, James," said Thomas, "did you hear about the red rocket ghost engine who once found a big red engine to haunt?" "What?" asked James. He looked scared. Percy laughed. "Don't worry, James," he said. "Thomas was only teasing. After all, it's just like what he said. There's no such things as ghosts."